Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really diving into some fresh source material excerpts from 1.txt. It gives a great snapshot of the Bitcoin market right now.
Yeah, it's quite detailed.
Right. So our mission today is basically to unpack what's going on. The price action, technical signals, risks ahead, and maybe the near-term outlook based on this material.
Sounds good. Where should we start?
Let's begin with the price. According to the source, where's Bitcoin sitting at the moment?
Okay, so right now it's hovering right around $105,520. It's been pretty flat today, actually.
Flat.
Yeah, just a tiny dip intraday, like 0.06%. The range mentioned is between, let's see, $106,368 on the high end and $105,110 on the low.
Okay. So that sounds like the market's kind of trading water, feeling a bit stuck.
It really does. The material definitely describes it as range-bound, stuck between the 105K and 106K mark. And you can feel a sort of cautious vibe, you know?
Yeah. Tied to anything specific.
It seems linked to some bigger economic stuff on the horizon, according to the notes.
Got it. But below the surface are the big players, the whales, making any moves. I saw something interesting in the source about on-chain data.
Ah, yes. This is where it gets quite interesting. The source highlights Glassnode data, and it's pretty stark.
What does it show?
It shows a 15% jump just in the past week in the number of addresses holding over 1,000 Bitcoin.
15%. Wow.
Yeah, that level of accumulation, that size. It strongly points towards institutional buying. Whales are definitely active, adding to their stacks.
Okay, so the big money seems to be buying.
Yeah.
But what about the charts? Are the technicals reflecting that strength or telling us something different?
Well, they're showing, let's say, a more mixed picture. Bitcoin's pushing up against the top of its recent range.
Right.
That's the upper Bollinger Band, sitting around $108,500. But at the same time, the daily RSI, that momentum indicator.
Yeah, relative strength index.
Exactly. It's quite high, around 72. Now, that signals bullish momentum, sure, but
But often means it's overbought.
Oh.
Right. Could be due for a breather.
precisely. It suggests things might be getting a bit stretched. And that actually lines up with an analyst view mentioned in the source.
Oh, who's that?
Bloomberg's Mike McGlone. He apparently sees the 100 Dalco mark as a potential ceiling for Bitcoin right now.
Interesting. So strong whale buying, but technicals flashing maybe a yellow light, and some analysts are cautious. What about external factors? Any big events coming up that could, force a move?
Definitely. The source points to a couple of key things. On the macro side, you've got the usual suspect, U.S.-China trade talks.
Always a factor.
Always has the potential to sway risk appetite, And maybe more immediately, we've got the U.S. CPI numbers coming out June 11th.
Ah, the inflation data. That could definitely move markets.
Absolutely. Big economic releases like that can really swing sentiment for risk assets, and that includes crypto.
Makes sense. And anything specific happening within the crypto space itself mentioned in the source?
Yeah, two notable things. First, unfortunately, a security incident, a major exploit. It was in the Bitcoin DeFi world, specifically on Stacks DeFi. The search details that attackers drained quite a bit.
Like what?
Around 8.4 million STX, nearly 22 SBTC, about 150,000 in stablecoins like USDC, USDT, and almost 3 WBTC. It's a real reminder about security risks in DeFi.
Oof, yeah. That's significant. Definitely adds some uncertainty. What was the second crypto event?
It's about NASDAQ. They've filed plans to expand their crypto index.
Okay, to include?
To include several altcoins. The source mentioned XRP, SOL, ADA, and XLM.
So not Bitcoin directly, but how might that affect things?
Well, it could influence where institutional money flows within the broader crypto market, right?
Yeah.
Maybe shift some focus or capital away from Bitcoin, even indirectly. It just adds another layer to watch.
Right, okay. So putting this all together, the whale buying, the cautionary technicals, the big macro data coming, that DeFi exploit, the NASDAQ index news. What's the overall near-term outlook the source material suggests?
It really paints a picture of tension. You've got clear bullish potential, right? Driven by that strong institutional buying, maybe ongoing ETF flows.
Suggesting it could go higher.
Yeah, if that buying keeps up and breaks resistance, the source floats a potential test of 112K maybe even this week.
Okay, that's the bull case.
But there are equally strong reasons for caution. Those technical signals we talked about, suggesting it's overbought, and those big macro events looming, CPI, any trade talk news.
They could easily spoil the party.
They could trigger serious volatility, yeah, or even kick off a reversal. So it's really balanced on a knife edge.
So for you, the listener, trying to make sense of the market right now, what does this complex picture really mean?
It means you have to look beyond just the price ticker. Bitcoin's current state is this delicate dance between powerful forces, and they don't all point the same way.
Right.
So tracking these specific things we discussed, who's buying the whales, what the charts are signaling like RSI, Bollinger Bands, the impact of big economic news, and even crypto-specific events like exploits or index changes, that's really key to understanding the dynamics and what might happen next.
So Bitcoin's basically consolidating, hanging around 105, 106K. It's gotten this really interesting tug of war between strong institutional demand on one side and maybe technical overextension and macro worries on the other.
That sums it up perfectly. You've got conviction from big holders bumping up against caution flags from the charts and the calendar. It's
Yeah.
uncertain.
Okay, so here's a thought to leave you with. Given these technical signs, the big economic events on the horizon, and these specific crypto developments like the Stacks exploit and the NASDAQ index expansion, which one of these factors do you think will ultimately be the biggest driver for Bitcoin's price in the very near future?